Hello, Janti. Hello, everyone.
What's up?
Good. How about you?
Taking this call in the car. Good. Thank you.
Yeah. We'll just wait for few other people to join. So we may start in 3 minutes. Welcome, Martin.
Thank you, Dan. Hi, everyone.
Hi, Martin.
Hello.
No, boys, no one were talking, not yet. We are going to start in few minutes, like 1 or 2 minutes. Okay. Can you guys hear me? Okay. Okay. Yeah. Thank you, everyone, and welcome again. We are happy to have you here in our very first Safrochain community call. We are really happy to have this first conversation and this first session together, where we'll be discussing about Safrochain in general and use cases, and at the end, maybe we'll be talking about the mainnet launch planning. And we are here with Dante, and he will be our speaker today. Welcome, Dante.
Hello, and thank you very much. And I'm glad to be here. I'm just switching to my phone, to my laptop. I'm registering. I'm already registered, though. I should be able to join again. Okay, let me just switch on. Keep going. Give me a minute. I would like to make a presentation so that we can follow along. If while I hope everybody is doing well. I mean, you can.
We can't hear you properly. Can you come again?
I was saying that if you can hear me.
Not really well, but can you try again?
Uh, could you hear me?
Now better. Yeah.
Now it's better. Perfect. So what we're going to do is I'll share my screen shortly, and then we'll be going along. I have a presentation which I prepared, and I'm going to share it so that you can able to see my screen as well. Perfect. It's coming up. Okay, now I should be on my laptop.
Okay.
Let me know if
Are you
it's
now
still
able?
clear.
Sorry?
Are you hearing me now?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Perfect. Good. So I'll remove my camera so that I do not have any issues with it. I'm finding my presentation. Give me a minute. There's so many files open. Okay. You know what? I'm not okay. Here it is. So I'm sharing now. Let me know if you can see my screen. Can you see it?
Now we can
Yes.
see your
Perfect.
screen. Yeah.
Thank you. So we had the recent presentation at the beginning of the month, and some of you may or may not have attended. However, this presentation has been updated for the purpose of today's meeting. So the idea is to represent again what Safrochain is meant to offer. The idea is that Safrochain is a new network. However, it is new in the sense that it brings something new, but it's not new in the sense that it is recreated from scratch. Now, we do leverage the Cosmos SDK, and that allows us to build upon other people's work, and we're able to offer our own view of what the blockchain should be implementing. And one of the key issues we had with the current status of the blockchain is that it encourages stagnation. It makes people reluctant from using the blockchain because the tokens are kept in wallets to expect an increase in valuation, an increase in token value, so which means them becoming stores of value. However, we want them to be means of exchange. When you have a store value, what your first metric is of course the total value locked, which is what people look at when they are basically looking into how valuable a blockchain is, which does make sense in the sense that that's where the value is expected to be. The more you lock the tokens, the more they are available for sale, and sometimes that's why they also become more valuable, right? However, for the purpose of economic activity, this does not create value per se. It does create scarcity, and that scarcity may or may not be valued at one point, right? If something is scarce, it may be valued first, but however, after a while, people may lose interest in that thing, even if it's scarce, because even gold is scarce. However, it's used in jewelry, it is used in coins, so it is scarce but used at the same time. However, if you have something that sits there, a rock, then that may not be valued over time because people may forget that it even exists. So that does not build community and it does not empower real economies. What Safrochain is proposing to value our chain on is on the running of the transactions. It's what we call an active velocity multiplier, meaning that it is an estimation on how much value is moving within the network, how many individual wallets are exchanging values among themselves, and how many services it empowers. Because without the services being used, you cannot know whether your blockchain is valuable. And valuable means usable. Valuable means needed. Valuable means sought after. And that's what we aim to value. And it will be touching lives in the sense that by creating value, people also get opportunities. That's another way of evaluating the blockchain. And that way is basically a meaningful way in our sense, given that we want people to be using the network. As we said earlier, again, the key issue is accessing the network, using the network. So a key proposal for Safrochain is to be accessible. Currently, Bitcoin, of course, is accessible. It does empower the peer-to-peer digital money. Even within Africa, you do here, it's quite used. It's one of the fastest usage base of Bitcoin. Like in Kenya, I was recently there in Kibera market. They were already implementing Lightning Network wallets for small vendors on the market, and it is accessible. However, it's not accessible in the value accrual. When the Bitcoin was minted the first time in 2008, the value was a few dollars at best. Now it runs in the tens of dollars, tens of thousands of dollars, which means even if you are to look for Bitcoin in terms of access, it is already quite expensive for the average African. And the accessibility of the network itself today, almost nobody, no individual can run a Bitcoin miner and be profitable, let alone even breaking even. So which means it is not a network which is accessible today. Now it is a network run by big enterprises and also enjoyed by wealthy individuals, okay? So now we want us to be more accessible, and that's why we chose the Cosmos SDK, because it's open source and we can adapt some tools that have already been verified into the African context. And that's why we brought up a Safrochain. And as a layer one built on Cosmos, Safrochain has, of course, its network, a set of validators, which again, I'm happy to announce last week we did the beta testing on the mainnet pre-production network. So we are still doing tests. However, so far so good. We were able to kind of launch with the Genesis validators. They were busy last week. And this week we'll continue further testing until we get ready for mainnet launch, which is still scheduled for July the 15th. This network has a native token that you may already know on testnet. For those of you who run validators or who are doing transactions, the SAF token is going to remain the same. It's going to be the SAF token on mainnet, and this token will be used for paying fees, securing the network through your delegations, and of course, power governance through your proposal submissions. We are launching Safrochain as an Africa first. However, it's open globally. Africa first in the sense that we are making mobile money as our key tool of access. We're also empowering communities. We are implementing solutions that are already being used in the real world and adapting the blockchain on those solutions. We are making it a real utility because, of course, with lower fees and quick finality and the mobile first, you have users who will be able to implement very, very regular transactions on Safrochain with minimal technical knowledge. Because as I said earlier, access is also about technology. Today, if you were to ask somebody how to use even Safrochain on a desktop today, it requires quite a lot of resources, both in terms of desktop access and being technically savvy to be able to run the Safrochain validator. However, users themselves, once we are on the mobile first implementation, they will be basically using tools that they're familiar with. Tell me if you have any question. I'm now going over the main assets and infrastructure items on the Safrochain network. First of all, let me confirm because I'm presenting, so I'm not sure if the sound is still clear. Dan, can you confirm?
Yes, yes, we can hear you very clearly.
Thank you. So on the Safrochain ecosystem today, as we speak on testnet, we have the hub, which that's where you do your tasks. That's where you get the CXP tokens for airdrop rewards, and there you have many functions, very very rudimentary, essential and elementary functions of the blockchain, meaning sending, receiving, swapping, bridging, and delegating. Those transactions are very common along all blockchain networks, that especially those that are proof of stake, where the delegation has a role. We are now also implementing on testnet Safrimba, which is in French called Tontine. It is a community-based saving scheme where people are able to save through their circle. So basically, you are a group of individual, you put money aside. You alone, you would not have been able to save that money because of discipline, because of emergency, because of your lifestyle. You may not be able to save, let's say, 1,000. Even if you earn $100 a month, you may not be able to save 1,000 after 10 months because, of course, that will require you to save all your income. Even if you were to save $10 a month, you may still not be able to reach 50 because, of course, your lifestyle will cause you to consume it. However, through the Safrimba and the smart contract, you have implemented methods whereby people can save and be forced to save while protecting their savings. Meaning, of course, through the Safrochain smart contract, we have both private and public elements of it. The private rules, parameters are quite varied. Anybody can set up parameters according to the user basis. However, the public one also has the functionality of only allowing people to withdraw at the end of the round, meaning you all save at the same time and you all withdraw at the same time. There's no opportunity for somebody to run away with part of the fund. So that's one of the implementation we made on the Safrimba online versus the real world implementation. We have the Explorer, which is again a tool that is handy in terms of viewing your transaction live and checking for the validators to check how the health of the network, and as well allow public representation of the usage. If we are making the AVM our key metric, of course, the Explorer is also important so that we can prove that, yes, we do have this number of transactions, and within these blocks, these are the many transactions within each block. You have all also used the faucet. It's an infrastructure item we have put online on testnet and which is only applicable for the testnet. It's basically a tool that allows you to get testnet tokens so that you can implement your own solutions, build, and also try out the network at your leisure. Today we have the apps and dApps I have just described right now. And of course, we have the Cosmos SDK as the underlying block for building the network. We have the consensus, which is a proof of stake consensus, as well as an integration with the IBC, which allows for cross-chain messaging and the token exchanges. For those who are doing the swaps, that's an implementation of the Cosmos IBC connections. And of course, we have key metrics here that we have now. It's 200 or so that have been testing the validators, and every day more and more are joining. We have a set limit of 100 validators, both on testnet and on mainnet. So which means there will be a rotation of this number with a maximum of 100 that will be active at any given time. Today we have set a supply of 1 billion SAF as the first allocation. We have set also a very low inflation rate, a minimum of 2%, a maximum of 12%, with a target bonded the rate of 55%, which should be reachable quite quickly, meaning we will not be at the high end of inflation on the go. And of course, the fees are very low as we have tested on testnet. The security is the same. We expect a high rate of delegation. And we have implemented, of course, the proposal ability for community funding in the future so that members can make proposals on how to use those funds and support the growth of the network. Today, we have been testing with many testnet validators that have been with us since last year. They've been AO with us. They've tested the network on testnet. And also some of you have taken the testnet tokens, have delegated, have seen how much rewards you're getting, and you have been learning about, of course, the benefits of the decentralization. On the Safrochain Hub, you have tested and continue to test the tasks daily, some of them, and also you have been able to see the speed at which the transaction pass. And I hope that once we do the mobile integration, this transaction will increase in terms of magnitude, given that not all of our compatriots, not all our friends are currently connected on Safrochain, of course, because today we are still quite on the desktop version of Safrochain. And once we get on the mobile side, more users will be able to test with you. The Safrimba circles, we have tried them as well. Many circles were created. I think over 150 circles were created in the testing period, and it's still ongoing. So far we have gotten feedback from members on how to improve them. In the last call, members were telling us to add a marketplace for the Safrimba ecosystem so that people can sell their expected rewards so that they can get a lower value, and the person who will have bought that reward, expected reward, will receive the value and take the difference as a benefit. So that's a way of improving Safrimba that we're implementing as we speak. So thanks again for all the feedback we've received from members. The Explorer and the faucets, as I said, those are very much very important tools, especially the faucet on testnet, and then the Explorer on mainnet for live transactions and wallet integration. This is something we try on improving on mainnet as well. We have real use cases that we are aiming to implement. Of course, we know that through cryptocurrency transactions are borderless, so which means you are not going to be facing issue whenever you send across borders, and hopefully we aim to make the transactions as cheap as possible with, of course, issues such as transfer fees and spread being avoided. Mobile money is a key element of the Safrochain network. It is one of the ways we will be onboarding and off-ramping users, meaning we will be bridging local mobile money networks with the Safrochain global network. And that I aim to be one of our key offering within the Safrochain network. A macro payment, the ability to use small denominations when you are doing transactions, is quite important, given that when you do small transactions elsewhere, they have fixed fees, or sometimes they do not allow you. Some credit cards do not allow you to send less than $5, for example. Some even charge you more the fewer dollars you send. So that's one of the key offering of Safrochain again. The Safrimba, which is going to be transparent, secure, and fair tontine on the blockchain. And of course, we aim to offer local DeFi's as well. We have local currencies implementation, two methods of implementing local currencies. we have the token factory, which is active now. You can create your own token on Safrochain testnet. We also have smart contract-based tokens we'll be implementing on Safrimba, so that the denomination or the naming and the identification of the token can be trusted and also exchangeable across the Safrimba network. We are supporting members of the diaspora with smaller transaction fees and a quick transaction finality. So which means through the Safrochain network, we expect diaspora members also to be able to support their loved ones across borders through the different DeFi that we'll be launching. Again, as I mentioned, as of May, we were at 150 validators that were active on testnet. It was 200 the last time I checked this morning. And we have now a couple of 10 or so validators that are testing on mainnet pre-prod. And expect some of you are running testnet validators to very soon be onboarded as well on mainnet, because of course the aim is that we'll be having the mainnet launch live 1 week or 2 weeks before the official announcement of the launch. So which means we'll be already have the network live before even the public knows it. So all the validators will be, we have a Discord channel and they will be informed as to when they'll be joining. So we have completed, of course, the concept. The testnet, the public testnet is live. The Genesis validators, of course, this one is already green as of last week. We are here now. So once we do that and we get the launch somewhere here at the end of the month, then we should be able to get the airdrop allocated. The airdrop actually within the Genesis file, the airdrop list will be finalized. So I encourage you all to continue your tasks on Airlift as well as continue them on the hub, so that you get to increase your airdrop maximization. And then once that is closed, we officially launch on mainnet, given that the airdrop allocation and vesting will have already been set. Okay. Ask me any question if you have any on this topic. We have launched the ambassador program, which concluded today. I think it's concluding today. Today is potentially the day when we completed. We have received over 50 applicants. So we will be reaching out to basically to those who applied, to inform them, inquire, get more information about them. However, I think all of those who have applied, and we're aiming to have representation in several countries. Here, our aim was to get countries in Africa also. However, I can say that we also expanded this ambassadorship program on other continents. So we have members who have joined from India, from Indonesia, from Vietnam, a few, I think, from another country, which I can't recall, but the variety is quite surprising, but it's welcome. Safrochain is open, so we don't mind if you're an ambassador from any country in the world, you can still join it. Even though we were saying that we're going to push for African representation, we are glad that even members around the world will also be onboarding Safrochain, given that the tools we are using may also be known in your location, such as Safrimba, which may come in a different name in India or in Indonesia. So again, continue, and thank for those who applied. You will be contacted very shortly. We have to also continue using the network to test it out. So I continue to invite you to get involved, to try out the network, even if you join today. Every day we get new members joining our Telegram and Discord channels. So continue testing. We're still on testnet. Try to run a validator if you can, and delegate as well if you have a wallet. You can also join a circle on Safrimba. Once you have your wallet, you can test it, tell your friends, tell your colleagues. If you're a small business owner, see if you can encourage your staff to save. If you can encourage them to use Safrimba as a means of saving. You can also build through the smart contract. Cosmo was is available on the network. You can build smart contracts. The Safrimba is a smart contract based application, as well as the tokens. We have smart contract based tokens, as well as token factory smart contracts tokens. We have also a few other dApps that will be coming live. We will be posting them on the website. These will be mostly targeted towards P2P exchange as well as mobile money transfer. So be on the lookout for those. And again, wherever you are, continue to be an ambassador for Safrochain, given that we do aim to be useful. So if there is an application you want to be able to use on the network, reach out and we'll implement it. If you think that the blockchain can be applicable in your community, please reach out and we'll work with you to make it happen. So thank you very much. And here are the few links you can use to get more information about Safrochain. Of course, the key website is safrochain.com. From here, you can get in many other subdomains. However, you have, of course, the hub, which, as you can see, the subdomains of the safrochain.com. So you also have documentation on the safrochain.com website on how to be a validator, on how to run a node, and also on how to contribute. So we thank you very much. And if you have any question, please don't hesitate to ask. So thank you very much. And back to you, Dan, for the moderation.
Thank you very much, Janti, for this nice presentation and useful content. The today's call was to make sure that you understand the use case of Safrochain and how you can, we are now at the time you can raise any kind of question about Safrochain and to make sure that you understand before going in mainnet. So we are here. If you have any kind of question, you are free to raise it and we'll be happy to answer here. So if you don't want to speak, you can just drop the question in the chat. I don't know if you had some question here, but if you have any question, yeah, just feel free to drop it in the chat and we'll be reading it. Thank you. Okay, we do have one question from Faisal.
Yeah. We have one first. We have one on the, are there any plans to list on central exchanges by Danu? So yes, we do have a plan to list. The first listing will happen potentially on the 15th of July. Due to confidentiality agreement with the listing company, we cannot give you the identity. However, that will be known whenever they launch the first announcements. Once they launch the announcement, we'll also forward it within our group, and then that will be the period at which you will know where Safrochain will be listed first. So yes, we're already in discussion and finalizing the agreements. And we have another question, which is the SAF tokens. First of all, Olivier, I think you said it's refusing the form to be submitted. I think because the end of the submission was, I think, yesterday, unless I'm wrong, but that could be the issue. Yes, that's true. So we closed the onboarding yesterday evening. Pauline Fez asked, will the SAF token we received during the testnet be taken into account on the mainnet? Yes. So not so much the testnet, the SAF tokens, no. So the SAF token on the testnet are not the ones that are going to give you airdrop rewards. However, they are basically going to allow you to do transaction on the hubs. Those activities are the ones that give you the CXP token on which we are basing our airdrop allocation. So do work on the Safrochain hub. Once you complete those activities, that's where you get your airdrop allocation. Then you can correct me if I'm wrong or elaborate further to answer Pauline.
Yes. For the airdrop, yeah, I think you said it well. And to just add, we'll combine the task from the first round of tasks from Safrochain Hub and the second one from the airlift. So we'll combine all the tasks you've been doing since the beginning of the testnet up to date. But the token you have, the testnet token you have, will not contribute on anything in the airdrop you'll have. So, yeah.
Thank you. Pauline, did it answer your question? Okay, perfect. So we have Anas Muhammad who is asking where to find documents that can help me build on Safrochain. First of all, the safrochain.com. Let me just write that, and then you'll find a guide there. Okay, let me write that, safrochain.com. Yes, thanks, Dan. Yes, and then if I can share my experience, and I invite everybody here who is trying to be active on the blockchain. I've joined the blockchain since 2020. That's when I started learning about building. I run validators on other networks. I was teaching on how to build and smart contracts. I did a lot of, I animated 2 summits in terms of Africa summit on the blockchain. So, which means now I can say, from my point of view, I think if you want to be active on Safrochain, is to first learn about what is the Cosmos SDK and what is the Cosmos ecosystem. It is quite varied, but it's again simple. All the resources that you find on Safrochain are also going to be used on other Cosmos-based networks. So the Crows, the some BNBs, the Terras, the Osmosis. So basically all of those are places where you can get information which is shared across those networks. However, I can also tell you, if you learn about Rust, Rust is the programming language which is popular, not only for the blockchain in Safrochain, but also even in the world in general, because many companies are switching their frameworks from other programming language into Rust. So if you learn Rust for the sake of Safrochain, you may even benefit for your own sake, because of course you can become a developer who is sought after in the world, right? So learn about Safrochain, learn about Rust, and then CosmoWasm is a subset of the Rust programming language, which is basically dealing with smart contract building. However, I can tell you, if you read like 50 pages on the CosmoWasm smart contract building, you will have like a clear idea to how to build smart contracts, and then you can make them more complex as you go. However, we are going also to kind of share. You'll be looking what we have on the Safrochain network to see how you can even learn from them, because they're open source, right? For example, Safrimba is quite accessible in terms of how much you are building it. So you can learn from it. It's a bit complex. However, you can learn at least on that side of the network. And some other smart contracts will be more private. However, you can also see how they're being implemented, okay? So I think that's one way to learn Rust, and I invite everybody to learn Rust. Try to run a validator. I encourage our African friends here that only a few validators on Genesis were managed by Africans. So the majority of them are based elsewhere. So it's a challenge you have. However, the network is open, so you have to raise to the occasion. Please be active, because you are going to not be represented as much as we had thought you would be. However, given that it's an open network, we can only go as far as we can to motivate you. So please do continue get involved, be technical, build dApps that are relevant to the African continent, and reach out if you need any technical support. Okay. I did not did I answer your question, Anas, for the first one? For the second one, is how many percentage will be unlocked at TGE? What is TGE? Token. What is TGE, Anas? If somebody knows what it means.
Token generation event.
Oh yeah, you sure? I mean, it's the token generation event, which is the mainnet, right? The Genesis. So if it's the Genesis, then we will be having around I think it's going to be 2%, which is unlocked on the TGE, because the rest will be vested. The percentage will be selling on the public exchange around between 1 and 2% of the token issuance. Though that percentage will be open straight away. However, yes, thank you, Martin. However, the rest of the allocations, including the airdrop, will undergo a certain vesting period. Quite short for the airdrop and very long for other types of allocations. So yeah, I would say around 2% will be on the market on the mainnet launch. Yeah. Perfect. So what else? Did I answer your question, Anas? So that's the percentage. I will say 2% will be issued at the IEO, which is the initial exchange offering. Okay. The vesting, yes, please. The vesting, what does it mean? The vesting has one benefit which people may ignore. So the vesting means you get tokens. Let's say you get $100 of tokens through your airdrop. Oh no, 100 SAF. My mistake. So 100 SAF, you get them as airdrop. There is a 3 months vesting period at which you get, let's say, 40, 40, and then 20. That is the vesting schedule. So meaning that you'll be getting those 40 live for exchange and transfer and sending in the first 3 months. However, the full 100 SAF will be available for your delegation. You can still delegate it. And the full 100 SAF can be used for collateral. If there is a DApp on Safrochain that allows you to get a loan based on your collateral, that 100 SAF can be used because you own it. It's not going to go anywhere. Your balance will be showing 100 SAF. However, the available spending will be showing after 3 months is going to show you 30. Is it clear? That's what the vesting does. Yes. So the vesting is it gives you your allocation through a schedule. You get a portion and so on and so forth. So that's what is happening. For the team, the vesting is much longer. It's 6 months. So which means they get their vesting according to the schedule that is again shown on our tokenomics page, which is shared in the link. So you can review it. And if you have any further questions, please don't hesitate to reach out both on our Discords and the Telegram channels. Any more questions?
We still have time in case you have any questions, so feel free. This is the time for us to ask any kind of question so you understand and you grow with the community, knowing what you are doing and what you really want to get from Safrochain.
Yeah, and also if I can continue, is that another question, is it mandatory to learn Rust and the Cosmos for those who want to contribute on Safrochain? Technically, I will say it is not mandatory. However, it is safe, Chris. So why is it safe? Let's say today you get somebody who is building, he knows SAF, he knows Rust. You are the technical manager, you are the CEO. You are employing people who are building something. Because of the technicality of what you're doing, it will be unsafe or unwise for you, the manager, to not understand what they're doing. It's as if you are almost using AI to code. Yes, it can work. However, if there is a problem, you have to know at least where is the problem, what could be the issue. You have to be able to trace it. So as a manager, you don't need to be the most technical element of the team. However, you have to have a minimal understanding of what are the key building blocks of your technology. You cannot come in and say you're building an application on Safrochain and you don't even know the programming language you are using. Well, you have an issue then in terms of security. What if you are leaking data? What if your smart contracts are too heavy and too costly? there is a lot of optimization needed for you to build a DApp which is competitive. Yes, at the beginning, you will not notice it, but the more DApp come online, the more people will be optimized, the more your DApp will be costing fees. So if somebody builds a DApp similar to yours and their fees are lower because they optimize their smart contract, of course they're going to use their DApp and not yours. So it is not mandatory, but it is at least learn about it, and it's not complex. It's not really complex. Rust, it's a functional programming, so which means it's kind of very much uh, it is, you just need to know what type of output and inputs you're using, and once you know them, you kind of at least can get rid of the key pitfalls. That will be enough for a manager to kind of know what is expected here, what is the response, what type of data I'm getting, how can I serialize it, how can I deserialize it, is it something that actually it's usable here, how many variable am I expecting. Those kind of things you need to know them so that you can at least troubleshoot your dapps. Yes, and if on the airdrop, again, I will encourage anybody who is able to run a validator to think about running one, because remember, the only 100 slots. We have a genesis of already 10 people who are building, who are running their validators. 10 is already 10%, which is already allocated. So which means there are only 90 spots to go for mainnet. And I can tell you already on testnet, we were able to pass that number. So try to run a validator, get delegations, be active and seek delegations, and then you are going to involve you, okay? Okay, well, 1xp sir, for the airdrop. Good question, Martin. No, we are going to do. We have the tokenomics. How much? Dan, can you elaborate on the number, the airdrop tokenomics? We know how many airdrops are going to be allocated. We're going to divide that number by the number of XP. Please go ahead, Dan.
Exactly. So we do have like two rounds of airdrop. The first one will happen after the launch of mainnet. I think at the end of July. And we have a max cap of 40 million SAP,
Yes.
and that will be divided by number of participants and how much XP you got during the quest. So that's how it will work, and that will be handled by the smart contract automatically. So when you'll be just putting your when you'll be connecting your wallet, everything are linked to the wallet, so you'll see how much you are going to get, and you can claim. You are able to even claim using a new wallet. So everything is planned, and yeah, that's how it will work. So it's not one start to such amount of X amount of XP, but the smart contract will be handling
Yes, and
and
everything
the
we hope to make
maximum.
it public.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what is going to happen, and then we'll continue the mainnet and the airdrop acquisition, even on mainnet, of course, through tasks, through bounties, and through other community involvement, so that you can continue to get airdrops. However, for those, then the first airdrop cycle, will it be subjected to a vesting period?
Yes, of course. Yeah. So it will really depend on how much you get. Some of people in the community will get a very huge amount of tokens. So that will definitely go under vesting. And for those who will receive like a small amount of tokens, they will just have a very short vesting. But the more you get, the longer is your vesting.
Okay, perfect, perfect. Thank you.
But the
We'll make
but the
again that
maximum,
we.
yeah, just to process, the maximum of vesting for airdrop is 6 months. So if even if you get like 4 million stuff, after 6 months you'll be able to have the total amount spendable.
Perfect. What is the shortest time?
The shortest is one month.
1 month. Okay. So between 30 days and 180 days, you should get tokens. Oui, dans le... Ok, oui. Qu'est-ce que... Bonjour Kennedy. Pouvez-vous nous expliquer en français ce que Dan est en train d'expliquer? Oui, c'est que Dan, il dit que les allocations de airdrop, qui signifient les allocations de participation, seront fonction des XP que vous aurez pu récolter à travers les différentes tâches que vous avez accomplies sur Airlift. Ainsi, on va diviser le maximum de XP déjà récolté par les 40 millions de SAF qui sont alloués. Donc, déjà, dans notre groupe Telegram, on a déjà mentionné que nous allons allouer pour la première tranche liée à testnet 40 millions de SAF et il y a une autre portion de SAF qui seront alloués pour mainnet. Donc, c'est ça d'abord ce qu'il disait. Et il a aussi mentionné qu'il y a une période d'attente avant que vous ne puissiez vendre vos SAF, une période d'entre 30 jours et 6 mois. Et cette période dépendra du nombre de SAF que vous avez obtenu. Le plus vous en avez, le plus les SAF seront échelonnés sur une longue période. Si vous avez reçu peu de SAF, vous les recevrez tous dans un mois. Si vous en avez reçu beaucoup, certains vont arriver dans 30 jours, d'autres vont être échelonnés jusqu'à un maximum de 6 mois. Oui, Dan? Peut-être que j'ai dit.
Exactly. You said that. I just want to again highlight something. When we are talking about 30 days, 1 month, it's not you'll be waiting 30 days, but the first day you'll claim, you'll be getting every single after every block, you'll be getting a small amount of tokens. So every day you'll be getting, you'll be unlocking tokens until 1 month. 1 month is the maximum length of the vesting, and the minimum is not 1 month. So the maximum for the small amount is 30 days, and the
good point, Dan.
6 months.
Guys, did you understand clearly? It means the vesting starts on day 1 of mainnet. So already on mainnet, your wallet will be getting airdrops as they go every day. Every block, you'll be getting airdrop. So, and the longer your allocation can be allocated is 6 months, meaning you will be completing your total allocation within 6 months if you have the highest amount. However, if you have a few tokens, by the time you vest, the minimum will be 30 days, meaning by 30 days you'll have received all your tokens. So good point, good clarification. So Chris is asking, I saw that there is a pre-sale on tokenomics. How much is the pre-sale price? Good point that we can divulge. It's kind of a name. We have not yet agreed with the listing company. However, our estimates is that we are going to prepare a price of 0.15 and 0.12 on the IEO price. However, we do have to continue with our friends on the listing side to kind of assess the need and the traction. We done?
Yes, I just want to correct something. 0.015.
Yes.
Not 0.015, 0.02.
Yes, 0.12. So it's a 0.15 is the aim per SAF, okay? And then from there, we will let the market decide. Of course, we have to kind of tell the market what we expect as potential for Safrochain. So which means you will know more. However, that's what we are aiming to do, Dano. What are the benefits of being an ambassador? The ambassador will also be rewarded as once you organize activities, we will both get a token of appreciation, meaning a per diem. So it's meaning a remuneration for your work. However, we'll also be supporting you with promotional tools as well in your community. You'll be able to host meetups, and we'll be funding those meetups. And then from there, you'll also be benefiting from it. What else? Oui, Innocent, I see your hand is up.
Merci gentil pour la parole accordée.
Oui.
J'ai entendu Dan dire que once you claim yourself, ça veut dire, lors du airdrop, ça veut dire à un moment donné, ceux qui ont des XP devront plutôt réclamer ou bien introduire une demande pour recevoir les SAF. Si c'est ça, moi je vais savoir, est-ce que on aura besoin de nouveaux wallets dans lesquels on va recevoir nos SAF pour les airdrops parce que ça sera déjà sur mainnet ou si pas besoin, les smart contracts vont s'en charger et faire la distribution automatiquement. Merci.
Oui, merci beaucoup. Deux options. C'est que tu auras d'abord ton wallet dès qu'il est connecté et que tu choisis le mainnet. Ton adresse sera l'identique sur mainnet. C'est que ton adresse va directement être assignée à une allocation parce que c'est la même adresse. Et aussi, après que tu n'aies assigné ton adresse, tu as, comme Dan l'a dit, tu as l'opportunité aussi de changer ton adresse. Quand tu fais ton claim, tu peux l'envoyer ailleurs. Tu peux par exemple dire, OK, ce wallet-ci, c'est celui que j'ai utilisé sur testnet. J'ai besoin d'un autre wallet parce que je veux sécuriser mes fonds sur mainnet. Tu crées une nouvelle adresse qui n'est liée qu'à mainnet cette fois-ci. Et là, maintenant, tu peux envoyer tes tokens. Donc, il y a ces deux options. Mais un wallet qui est sur testnet, il sera reconnu sur mainnet avec la même adresse.
Can you
Oui,
just explain for English speakers? So,
yes, please. A question we got was that somebody was asking whether when you claim, are we going to use the same address as on testnet or we need to create a new address so that we can claim on mainnet? And I was telling him that the network, the wallet itself, once you switch network, once you add the mainnet network on Safrochain, which is different from the testnet, it will recognize your mainnet address. And the tokens you have as SAF on mainnet will be different from the testnet SAF. So meaning that, yes, the address is the same, but the token SAF on mainnet will be the real SAF tokens, and they will be allocated according to the airdrop you are claiming. So it's okay. However, for the sake of people who want to switch wallets on mainnet, let's say they did not save their mnemonic keys, they only know their passwords, they can recreate a new wallet for the purpose of mainnet, for which they're going to save those mnemonic keys better. And then from there, they can get a mainnet address, and the allocation and the claiming website will allow you to send those rewards to a new address. So you also have the ability to send that. Okay. Kennedy, you have a question?
Donc, merci. Moi, je voulais profiter de l'occasion pour demander par rapport aux tâches que nous effectuons sur Safrochain. Et c'est ça qui nous permet d'avoir des XP. Mais il y a des caisses qui n'acceptent pas, même si vous les faites, ça n'accepte pas lorsque vous soumettez. Et on fait les demandes, on met dans des groupes qui est Discord ou Telegram, mais on ne trouve pas toujours des réponses par rapport à ça. Et je ne sais pas si on peut trouver comment des ISP, XP, si on ne fait pas ces enquêtes-là. C'est pourquoi je profite de l'occasion pour demander qu'on trouve des solutions ici.
Merci à toi, Dan.
Oui, ça dépend. Il y a deux possibilités pour laquelle votre tâche n'est pas acceptée ou est rejetée automatiquement. Si ça se trouve du côté où vous faites des activités comme post, article, Twitter, ça veut dire que vous avez soit posté un article deux fois, soit vous avez posté quelque chose qui ne cadre pas avec la question. Et ça, c'est corrigé automatiquement par l'IA et ça fait ça parfaitement. Plusieurs tâches passent. C'est qu'il faut vraiment revoir la question et voir si ça correspond concrètement à la tâche. La deuxième possibilité, c'est si c'est du côté de on-chain, là où vous faites des actions sur Safrochain Hub. Alors, dans ces cas-là, ça veut dire que vous n'avez pas fait la bonne action ou alors vous n'avez pas respecté les requirements. Par exemple, ici, on a dit d'envoyer 3 SAF et que vous avez envoyé 2 SAF, ça ne va pas passer. Donc, il faut vraiment vous rassurer de vraiment lire la question et puis de faire la tâche parce que ça va vraiment vérifier, ça les vérifie même des fois on-chain.
Oui, oui,
So,
oui. Pardon. Je parle au niveau, là, on nous dit d'échanger les SAF à ISDD. Et lorsque on va, je ne me rappelle pas de la question, mais on dit d'échanger la moitié de nos SAF. Et puis si on met sur les coffres forts, ainsi de suite. Mais lorsqu'on arrive à la fin, il n'affiche pas, il n'accepte pas d'échanger les SAF à USDD.
Ah, oui, alors ça, des fois, il y a des petits problèmes avec Safrochain Hub. Soit on est en train de mettre, on est en maintenance, ça prend naturellement des fois un peu de temps parce que des fois, ce sont des actions en gouvernance. Donc, si ça fait ça, il faut juste essayer un peu plus tard. Quand on vous dit, d'habitude, après la maintenance, on vous dit toujours, c'est redevenu disponible. Vous pouvez maintenant faire le swap ou vous pouvez faire les bridges. Donc, à ce moment-là, il faut aller refaire la tâche parce que surtout ces tâches-là sont hebdomadaires. Donc, vous pouvez les faire n'importe quand au courant de la semaine. Vous devez aller refaire la tâche et si ça passe, alors allez sur Airlift et vous rassurez maintenant que ça passe. Um, we're just Kennedy was just asking about Airlift quests. So he was saying some of quests were not passing and were rejected. So I was explaining that it really depends on what task. So the best thing is to really read well the quest before submitting. And if it's an on-chain task, and if you had a problem in the hub platform, you need to wait until the developer team say that the problem is resolved. So you can go back to the hub and do the task again and back to Airlift to execute and test if it's okay. That was the question. Thank you. In case you guys have any last question, because we are at the end,
On the hour,
passing
I
to
have a
2
question
minutes.
from Abdulaziz, who asked, like, are we planning to integrate local banks into Zafrimba? We do. I will explain the process and I will explain what is possible. So today, all those cycles, they use fiat. Most of them, they use fiat. And by using fiat, they use cash. So meaning you take your cash, you give to a person, they put it into their suitcases. Or you can also deposit in an account, and then you trust one person who is the owner of the account to withdraw when it's due and distribute the funds. Today, in all companies, in all the world, in all countries, blockchain is not integrated in local banks for a key reason that once we come and integrate it, banks will be facing serious competition because banks close. The blockchain is available 24/7. Banks have fees. The blockchain reduces the fees. So you can see already there is a conflict of interest with the banks. What we need to do is that through Safrimba, once we have on-chain Safrimba and integrated with mobile money, we are kind of approaching a state where we become a financial institution. And within a few years, if we get a license to operate in one African country as a financial institution, of course, you'll see an office called Safrimba. And that Safrimba, for all means and purposes, will be a bank because you can actually deposit and withdraw. So that's what we aim to do. But we need to, first of all, build momentum, build usage across border. Once that Safrimba is established in one country and it becomes established in a second country, no government can oppose us because they will have, basically you'll be unavoidable. It's going to be a resource that small people who are not banked are using. It's the same way today, mobile money. Mobile money is also a bank. It's only because they're not saying it, but those mobile money companies, they have financial licenses. They have a license which is that for a financial institution. Safrimba will have a almost similar license, and will, for all means and purposes, will be similar to what a bank is offering. So we do think that Safrimba will ultimately grow into a financial institution naturally. Good. So if you have any other further questions, please don't hesitate to reach out on our Discord, on our Telegram, and we thank you again, all of you, for your participation today.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you for participating, and we'll be having this session, I think, bi-weekly or monthly. So prepare all your questions like today, and that will be helpful for many other people.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.